Hello. All right. Welcome, everyone, to United Astronomy Clubs of New Jersey. While a few stragglers are wandering down from parking and looking at the awesome view off the rock, want to welcome you here to our location on Jenny Jump State Forest in Hope, New Jersey. So, for everyone here who doesn't know, we do live stream these on YouTube and Twitch. So, if you ever can't get up here or the weather's just bad enough where you don't want to leave your home, you can always join us there online and say hi in chat. Also, check us out on our website, uacnj.org. That's where you're going to find a list of all our talks coming up, as well as uh, talks we've had in the past with links so that if you ever, hey, man, I missed a really interesting talk, you can always go back and watch that on our YouTube. You can also check us out on our socials, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Discord. Please do say hi, ask any questions you might have. So, on to the safety briefing for those of you who are physically here. If you need to use the bathroom, that is the porta potty to the back, to my left, your right. It does have a red light, which you'll be able to see when it actually gets darker. I also have a little museum and gift shop area over, again, to my left, outlined in red, that I'll be there after the stream where I'll answer any questions I can about our displays, astronomy in general, and if you have anything, like if you're a scout and need a patch, we have those there. So, when we go to leave, we use our headlights. We don't like getting run over. I am sure you also agree with that. Because we are a nonprofit, and unfortunately, liability insurance is very expensive. However, for any flashlights you may have, please keep them pointed towards the ground so we don't accidentally blind people by shining bright lights in their eyes that we don't actually need. And with that, we're going to get into tonight's program, which is Space Careers with Ken Taylor. If you found yourself looking up at the night sky, you could in fact be a budding astronomer. Space Careers will give you a glimpse into a tiny portion of the endless career options available to those interested in space and science. This is given by Ken, who has nearly a decade of experience as an amateur astronomer and astrophotographer. His astronomy photographs have been featured in many editions of our UACNJ calendar, and is a member of Northwest Jersey Amateur Astronomers in Blairstown. And of course, Ken is the penultimate jokester and loves having fun and entertaining all those who want to know a little bit more about astronomy. Ken? Ken?
What?
You can't come through the screen. You have to come out here.
I wanted to go through the screen with this.
You can't Kool-Aid Man the screen.
Hi, everybody. That hurts my ears.
So don't wear it.
I usually come in costume. Don't get me wrong, I do. The other thing I'd like to point out, again, we are amateur astronomers looking for donations. Not a single person here has made a single penny here. Every one of us are here as volunteers. We actually pay to be here. Nobody takes a dime from here. So with that, who likes astronomy? I got, I got like, right now, for our web audience, we probably have close to about 35, probably 40 plus people here, and they're still walking to get here. So either way, I am an amateur astronomer. I'm no professional. I learned everything that I know about astronomy here at UACNJ, including astrophotography. So with that, I'm going to go into my program if we would like. Anybody else having a problem with that? Let's see here. Oh, let's turn on the presenter. Nope, that ain't it. Hello? Okay. There we go. One of my presentations is space careers for the younger guys and somebody who's looking to change their job, who might be a little bit scientific. might be interesting to you. So, space careers. As most of us here, you might have growing up and wanted to be astronaut. End results are I'm the same as you. I am sure that maybe somebody else, one of you, also. Again, just look up some space careers or jobs that are waiting for you. Let's start out like this. Medicine? Anybody? Medicine? Interested in medicine? Whatever. There we go. How about a space doc? No, not a doc, a space doctor. End results are is that yeah, medicine happens on our International Space Station currently. I mean, everybody's got to keep in shape because for the simple reason you're in a weightless atmosphere. So everybody's got to stay in shape and bones, muscles, everything has to be exercised on a regular basis. Again, just to stay healthy. Um, let's think about being a possible space doctor. But look at the equipment that this gentleman here is using. That equipment actually has to be designed for a weightless atmosphere. So you might be even an engineer that might want to be able to design something specifically, staying with exercise, something like that. So I mean, he's got an oxygen mask on because he is exercising. This is a pedaled bike. I'm sorry, he's weightless, but he has to be held down so he actually works his muscles. And obviously, they got a whole bunch of wires around him, so he can't go around floating all over the place. Yes, there is a doctors in outer space currently. Here's one of the doctors right now doing an eye exam on somebody. And as I said, space docs. End results are is they have to be examined, of course, on their progression, making sure that they stay healthy while in space. You had a gentleman, his last name was Kelly. He spent a full year in outer space, and he had to come back. And guess what? He had a little trouble walking because, again, you're readjusting for the Earth's atmosphere slash gravity has to be taken into consideration. Anybody like cooking? How about cooking for astronauts? You like it? What do you think they might be eating in there? This guy's eating the scrambled egg. I'm sorry, he doesn't get that all. That's going to make a heck of a mess inside some piece of equipment. But again, designing this food for them, properly packaged, it has to be all done. Engineering, again, I'm kind of like an engineer. So, I mean, you can also use your various vegetables, so on and so forth, for juggling, more exercise. Um, why not? I don't see lettuce. I don't know what the heck she's chasing. Ah, it's a brownie. So, I mean, come on. Okay, ice cream, it melts. You got to be careful with that stuff too. You got to eat it fast. You guys have any problems eating ice cream fast? No, because you can get more maybe. All righty. Getting into more specific, designing a spacesuit. The spacesuit is an environment that you have to carry with you when you're walking in space, walking on the moon, which we're going back to. Oops, where am I? There we are. Sorry. Anyway, I mean, there's many parts of that. That's monitoring, again, the health of the astronaut within the suit. So there's a lot of wires, sensors, and all that kind of stuff. Even the head, the visor, which again, if you notice, I did put in this statement, you can't buy this visor at Walmart. It's got to be a little bit more specific than, a pair of sunglasses. They're looking at the sun with no atmosphere dampening the sun's rays. So making of a spacesuit is kind of important. I mean, again, you can look right here. He's carrying his oxygen, his visor, camera right here, gloves, boots, so on and so forth. But as we all know, as you saw in the previous pictures that I mistakenly went to, those suits have changed significantly. And again, for specific environments in which they're in. SpaceX suit. I love this thing. Anybody see 2001 Space Odyssey? Older guys did. Nobody raised their hand. I got a bunch of younger guys in the back. Thanks, guys. I mean, so I mean, this looks a lot like their suits that they even wore. But notice there is no oxygen on them. Yes, they have a helmet with a visor, gloves. That took a lot of engineering. I don't even venture a guess. If somebody wants to tell me out in the audience or even online what that suit actually wound up costing the U.S. government to make, go ahead. EVA.
They're they're looking to see if you can do a spacewalk in the suit.
Problem is that was insulated for the capsule alone. Okay. So number two, the previous suit that you saw had much more insulation. I mean, you're walking around in an environment that would freeze your finger off in about 10 seconds. You know, it's minus whatever, 250 degrees. But this is, again, it's a, move that microphone a little further away. It's designed for internal, that environment. Of course, EVA would take a lot more. One, they don't have oxygen. As people be going, excuse me, out of oxygen, so on and so forth, like a scuba diver, which I am. Here's them designing one of the newer suits, possibly for EVA, but again, with some of the electronics that are involved with that, okay, and also the sensors that have to, of course, incorporate and take into consideration the computers that are going to read that information. So, I mean, just use your imagination. You know, we were talking about food before, food that is going to be fine in a vacuum packed packet, so on and so forth. Anybody want to eat like, you know, warm eggs? No, no, they got a microwave on there. I know they do. But here, the engineers are doing something with the suit, basically making sure that it works properly. How about some of the interior designers here, so on and so forth? How about designing something like this? The instrument panels, where they're situated, making sure and making it look nice. This, of course, is from Next Generation. I'm a Star Trek nerd. So either way, so basically designing, building, and putting those in place in to be used in space and deciding where to put them within the spacecraft. All a bunch of stuff. That other guy was standing with doing the exercises with a bunch of wires around. Hopefully we get it a little cleaned up than that, because could you imagine a short going on there? I mean, that's a heck of a lot of wires to go through to even think about trying to find a short. Or somebody will design tools in space, so on and so forth, that will fit something or fix something on a spacecraft. So a tool designer, okay, or somebody who takes it like that. So you could really, really, really use it in space and not have it float away from you. Several of the, I know for a fact they lost many items in space, but one specifically, somebody lost the camera. I don't know if you guys remember that, but that was on the International Space Station while on the arm. The arm itself has to be designed, has to be able to work properly in a weightless environment, okay, without losing this person, male or female, who works on the International Space Station. They're actually working here. What are they working on? The Hubble. That's actually when they were changing and doing some upgrades on the camera and fixing the mirror that they messed up when they originally built it. You know, let's make it this way. They got to have tools even to fix a toilet. There's toilets on there, so I mean, you got to be able to fix it if it goes bad. Heck, can you imagine somebody going around? I gotta go, but it's broke. Come on. You don't want to be stuck like that. Or how about a rover? This happens to be one of the Mars rovers. A gentleman doing an oil change on it. No, it's not an oil change. Duh. He's actually doing some work on the electronics because there is no oil that you can change on the rover. Nobody's there to change it. Those were supposed to only last like 4 or 5 years. They're now into their 10, if not 20. Anybody got an idea? They got to be up there at least 15 years. That was only designed to go for maybe 3, 4 max. So I mean, and the electronics, the programming, the computer system that's on board that has to be programmed properly to send that information back to Earth. They're all alone on the surface. We feel real bad, and me too. As far as the poor rovers, nobody to talk to except for people that answer them 20 minutes later. Can you imagine that? Where'd you put the gosh darn towel? Oh, that's right. I got to wait 10 or 20 minutes to find out where the towel is. Here we're looking at space stuff, so on and so forth, that was current. But how about the future stuff that you younger guys are going to get involved with? Designing of a spacecraft. Look at when I was younger, all we had was these capsules and you had a seat in it, and that was it. I'm sorry. We're going to need more than that. That's, of course, came the Gemini. Then, of course, came the shuttle. And now, of course, the International Space Station. That mess of wires was the International Space Station. The design on that wiring system isn't that great. But either way, there's a lot of stuff. So it's our goal for guys to actually be able to do their jobs in space in the future, which you all are going to be involved with. I'm not pointing at the older people here like me, but pointing at the younger ones that are going to be involved with that. I got to remember to point it at that thing instead of here. Okay, but not only NASA, as you well know, not only NASA is going into outer space, SpaceX, Virgin Galactic. I think there one other you might know. No, Virgin Galactic, uh, SpaceX,
Blue Origin.
Blue Origin. There you go.
There's Rocket Labs, I think.
Rocket Labs. That one I don't know of. I'm not that space savvy, but either way, I know a little bit about space. I got a lot between my ears. My wife tells me that all the time. So either way, today the companies and with talent, so on and so forth, like SpaceX, are putting rockets into space as we currently have today. Here, I'll get a little bit more in camera shot. Here, last November, there was a launch from Virginia, Vandenberg launch pad area, Space Station Center. There was a rocket launch. They had to change the directory of that launch. It was originally to go up and over the Atlantic. It couldn't go over the Atlantic because there was a storm, weather, another thing. Even Earth's weather for shots to go off and rockets to go off. But they had to change the trajectory to go a little bit closer to the shore. Did anybody see the space launch? Nobody? And I should have I should include it with this. We actually had it come right up and over and go out that way. It was great. We actually saw the the rocket going off. It was dark. It was great. Oh, and those are the type of things here. International Space Station flyovers. When you're at the telescopes here tonight, make sure to look up. If you see stars moving, I can 99.9%, I did leave a little space, 99.9% that it's a satellite. The other 0.01% is an alien. You can buy aliens inside our space shop here. You sold them all? Bob's still in there. we had aliens. We don't have aliens anymore. We're asking some aliens to make more aliens, so we'll have baby aliens. Okay? Maybe one night you might look up into the stars and see a star moving, as I just said. Again, satellites, possible aliens. Yes, there could be aliens, I mean, satellites, and maybe something you didn't even think of. We can't see it anymore without a telescope, but there's a Tesla up in space. Does everybody remember him launching the Tesla? No? You do. Okay. In 2000, I believe it was 16, he launched a Tesla up into outer space just cause. If anybody's got enough money here, I'll go up and get it because that sucker's got to be worth a few $1 billion. Anybody on online? I'm looking for donations to go into outer space. My wife says, again, I'm already there. Whatever. This arrow here is point that somebody took the previous picture here. Let's go back. It was here. Notice these two stars? Let's call it a little triangle here. Here's the those two stars or that triangle is somewhere in that picture. So, but either way, it was moving and somebody was able to take a picture of it and then of course identify it as that Tesla. Again, astronomy is important to even space travel, as it was very important for the original moon launch. When they when they launched when they selected the moon launch landing area and for the 1969 landing, okay, they actually asked amateurs and professional astronomers where they would suggest. And of course, amateur astronomers, and of course, most definitely, more than likely, all the professionals, they were able to make that the selection. Maybe you might see, maybe you've seen movies showing robots, on other planets in space. Robotics. Who are the younger guys here that are into robotics, or even middle? It's really cool. I've seen a lot of competitions. It's great stuff. This is a major area that definitely we will have definite job openings, so on and so forth, to designing these robots. They're already up in outer space and on other planets. Mars, the moon. That one's broken. I think that needs a wheel changed. But either way, that's going to be another area. So robotics and the communications, computers, so on and so forth, communicating with them. Look at these guys. They didn't have to make it look like a spaceman, but because what robot needs a helmet? Again, if it's properly designed to work in the cold environment of space, they won't need a helmet. Maybe a visor just to filter out the sun. But either way, here's a robot being built by college students today. I think it looks like 3CPO. Anybody else say the same thing? A couple of people. There we go. This is one robot again that would be used to fix stuff in space. They actually do have a robot on the International Space Station, which they can hook up to the arm to do menial tasks within, their repairs on the International Space Station, and also around the outside of the craft, because it's a dangerous environment. Outer space is cold, it's dark, and all that kind of stuff. So we gotta, make sure that we stay safe as, human beings while we're in outer space. So again, robotic design. Maybe one of you might be this guy. I think it might be you. You might be that kid going up to R2D2. I remembered. Old memory. This is our first telescope in outer space. That was put up in 1990. For me, that was yesterday. But again, looking at it, that was 33 years ago. Technology has changed so significantly that guess what? They've decommissioned it as a NASA telescope, but there are individual organizations that are able to use the telescope to continue taking pictures and doing scientific study within outer space. Telescope design, guess what? That's another area. Optics. Optics, what I'm talking about, are like these, okay? Because I can't see anything up close. End results are optics for outer space. So that's another. All these things, I hope one of you, one of you younger guys get involved with it, because then at least I can look down on you because I ain't going to be around. And actually know that I got you involved or at least interested in outer space and doing work for outer space. You don't have to be an astronaut to work for stuff on outer space. So don't be afraid. You don't have to go there, but you can design stuff for it. Going to places like this. This happens to be one of the photographers here that took this picture. I'm not quite sure who. I should have put their name on it. That's the Orion Nebula. So again, taking pictures of and camera designs, and I can keep on going and going. Tell me when I bore you, or there's a theory over there. Have I bored anybody yet? I got three people that went. That one right here, that happened to be Kim, the one who introduced me. She's going, yeah. Go
Ken,
ahead.
most of them don't listen to the talk about 5 times a year.
5 times a year. I'm only scheduled for two. Last year I was scheduled for two, but I did six. Okay. So some people didn't show up here, so I got to do it.
Hey, I gotta bust your chops a little bit.
Oh, anybody online want to bust my chops? You know how to answer it. Go ahead. Let it go.
I've been encouraging them to bust your chops.
Oh, there you go. Nice. Thanks a bunch. Just don't let my wife know. Visiting other galaxies. Right now, we don't have the technology to go there because our spaceships and rocket engines are unable to go to light speed. In this particular case, if we were going light speed, this happens to be the Andromeda Galaxy. So end results are we'd need a couple of men and a couple of ladies to go up into outer space because it's going to take 2.3 million years at light speed to get there. So you're great, 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 and you do it. A whole bunch of people have to be born, and this happens to be M13. Okay, I know it's outside of careers, but again, emphasizing the science that has to go on finding exoplanets within other galaxies, within our own galaxy, is science that also has to be done and is a space career. Oops. What planet? Neptune. Absolutely. Again, technology changes from when we started going into outer space with our observing of outer space. It wasn't until the 2000s. Nah, I'll go back a little further. 1985, 87, so where we had a satellite probe, if you will, sent up. It happened to be, I think it was Viking, that actually passed it and was able to get the illumination of the rings around Neptune. So there's a bunch of stuff. Science can be fun. Science is fun. Okay? I mean, all different kinds of sciences. But science is a lot of fun. End results are is that with your encouragement into that field, again, you're only going to make our space program, which I'm interested in, and other sciences that you're involved with get much more better. Technology is changing as we already went through. Saturn. Saturn's rings, they're not that thick. I don't know exactly. Online, look up Saturn's ring, the thicknesses of the rings, because but I mean there are things here within Saturn's rings that are the size of mountains. What type of materials are on that? Well, guess what? With telescopes, science, spectrometry, so on and so forth, they're able to tell you what is the environment of an exoplanet and possibly even the minerals that might be contained within Saturn's rings. It's not 2.3 million light years away. It's a lot closer. Maybe we'll go out and grab one, bring home a space rock. Other one right here. What is it? It's a planet. Yeah, okay, that was the easy part. Go ahead, Kim.
I was gonna say, what did you leave in the fridge in the Tupperware too long?
That's my spaghetti from last night. That is, as you know, online possibly, that's Mars. Mars actually can be seen through our telescopes, not in this detail, but you would be able to make out the northern and southern ice caps. Jupiter, you can make out in one or two of our telescopes here the red spot on Jupiter. Optics. The rings of Saturn, you'll see a ball, you'll see a space in between the rings and the planet. Again, optics. Mars again. This being I'm going to say that's the northern cap, okay, just because it's facing north or up, and the southern. That happens to be. There another thing that's really cool and is discovered on some of their photography. End results are, who's seen the aurora borealis? Ooh, lots of people. Guess what? On our planets, not necessarily Uranus, but on our planets within our solar system, Jupiter most definitely, they get the aurora borealis also on that planet too. Again, north, south, magnetic poles dragging that materials in, which are ejections from, of course, the sun. Voila! That's the aurora on Jupiter. Cool, no? I get a bunch of people going, yeah, cool. But again, you'd be able to see the red spot of Jupiter with our telescopes here. Oh no. Any questions? We'll save them to the end. Guess what? This is M51. That's a galaxy swallowing another galaxy. I'm sorry to tell you guys, we are also going to be swallowed by another larger galaxy. And that's called Andromeda. Don't go home and have nightmares about it. That will only happen in about 4 or 5 billion years from now. I'm over it. Anybody else? They're right there. I got 3 or 4 people, 5 people going up. So that's M51. In this particular case, most of the pictures that you see in magazines, what you've seen here, are astrophotography. Planets, no problem. We'd be able to see them in our telescopes, as I already mentioned. In this particular case, no. You would only see a very shiny core, and maybe make out something jumping over to the other, because this is long exposure. Astrophotography doesn't necessarily have to happen here, and most definitely doesn't happen here with exoplanet discovery. Other planets that might have life on them. So just be aware of that. This is a planetary nebula, okay? This was taken with a camera and, of course, long exposure. But when it originally happened, here you go, guys, more science, more jobs. And hopefully, if you haven't seen online, when Betelgeuse, which is a star within the Orion constellation, we anticipate, hopefully, we'll be able to see it. anticipate it going supernova. This happens to be a supernova that did happen. In the case of Betelgeuse, they say Betelgeuse should be visible during the day in the sky. I saw that online. Online never lies, right? But in this particular case, this is M1, the Crab Nebula. In writings from China in 100 AD, 100 AD, over 2,200 years ago, they had writings that they could see that particular object in the daylight sky. Look it up. I ain't lying. Honest to God. I'm boring the heck out of this guy. Yeah. Oh, you were stretching your jaw. I'm so sorry. I give up. I've forgotten what that's a picture of. But in this particular case here, this is a nebula. You notice I called the other one, the Crab Nebula, a planetary nebula. They thought it was a planet exploding, but no, that was a star exploding. In this particular case, nebula, not a planetary nebula, this is where stars are born. Okay? Basically, data or mass, objects, gas, dust, gather together. They collapse on each other after they get about the size, if larger, or about the size of 10 times our sun, and compress and compress and compress to the point where it actually creates fusion and a star is born. That's what a nebula does. I hope you get a job when you guys, younger guys, get older, that you get a job that you want. Maybe it might be in the space industry. Wow, I'm running short on. I'm not short on time. I'm actually coming close to the end of mine, so we'll have to make up some stuff as I go along. Um, and maybe you might be an astronaut. And if you become an astronaut, I'll be jealous as heck. I really will. But end results are, hopefully, I would like you a whole bunch. Maybe you might meet people like this. Who's that? E.T. You might meet aliens in outer space when if you get in outer space. I'm good.
False. That's you.
That's me.
Out of your costume.
Yeah, that's me out of my costume. No, that ain't me. I'd be in a big house, so on and so forth. Or maybe this guy. And that's not Baby Yoda. That's the real Yoda. Or maybe these guys. Everybody knows them, right? Favorite. One of my first one, second one, but pretty close. Thank you for allowing me to talk to you today. Hopefully I was semi-interesting and didn't bore the heck out of you. But in either case, please, as already mentioned, we love having you here. We'd love to see you come back. We have several people here that I know for a fact have been here several times, and that's great. We always want to have more and more people in. Tell everybody. Tell them to come. Just for your information, yes, we're outside. Okay? We're outside having our talks. In 2019, we had our talks inside. End results are is in 2019 pre-pandemic, just to give you an idea, and you're part of this year's count, we had 2,735 people visit us from April to the end of October. So we have a lot of people come. It's like I love having people actually semi try to listen to me. Hopefully, again, like I said, I didn't bore the heck out of you. But remembering, yeah, make a donation if you'd like. Fill out a form or let Kim know. We have forms or there's inside for our website and mailing list.
There's the screen. They can do the.
You can do it
things.
on screen, people. You probably already know it.
Unless it's broke again.
unless it's broke again, in which case, call Kim.
But ironically, I think there's more people than we could actually fit inside, even when we were using the full lecture hall. So, yay, we're growing.
I'm done.
Let me not.
I'm sorry I put you to sleep.
So,
And you in the back, too.
so what's going to happen now is we are going to have a question and answer session so we can fully harass Ken because he enjoys it ever so much.
Mm-hmm. That wire is broken.
It wasn't broken when I gave it to you. Stop playing with it. But anyhow, for the people here, when I ask for a question, if you have a question, you're going to raise your hand and kind of wave it about and keep it up until I get to you so you can speak your question into the microphone. Because chances are, if you have that question, someone else online or even here might have the same question but not be brave enough to ask it. So I'm going to start off with one of our online questions is, what space career would you go into given the chance?
Given the chance, well, one, I'm too old and they wouldn't offer me anything. But what space career? Like everybody else, and I would go tomorrow. I'd go into outer space in a heartbeat.
But what would you want to do in space as your job?
As my job?
Yes. I
I
doubt
would-
they
I-
would let
I
you
would-
go and just be like, I'm floating. Do
well, that
nothing.
doesn't,
Unless
like-
you're a professional guinea pig.
No, I don't want to be a guinea pig because I'm already in outer space, so it's already a chance of me going. But no, I would be an astronaut, and I'd love to do photography, camera. I'd love to work on the Hubble or do anything mechanical like that.
All right. Was there a question out here? Perfect. Going to. There we go.
Isn't a light year the same as a regular year, but it has less calories?
Yes, it does, until you put icing on it and more icing on it. But yes, absolutely. Thank you for the question, and I loved it. I really, truly did. What is it?
So a year is a measurement of time for how long it takes the Earth to complete one full orbit around the sun. Light year is actually a measure of distance. It is how far light can travel in a single year. So,
Yeah, and just to go a little bit more of a definition, light travels at 186,000 miles a second. Okay. Okay. But how many miles an hour is that?
over the
Online?
legal speed limit on 80.
A little bit over the speed on 80. It winds up being about 660 million miles an hour. There you go. Next.
Right, so our next online question is, don't they 3D print some of the simple tools they need for in space now?
Yes, actually, they did do that on the International Space Station, but be aware that some of the stuff that they can do on a 3D printer isn't necessarily strong enough to actually take the torque that might be required in outer space. Don't get me wrong, the materials that they use in outer space and even on Earth today has improved dramatically. But yes, they can design tools in outer space and have been doing it for now, I think, the last 7 years.
All right, was there another question from our audience here? Oh, I see a hand back there. Keep it up, because otherwise I'll lose you. As it
And
gets darker, it becomes
Not only that, she
I'm
has to
based
hand you a
on motion.
microphone because I can't hear well.
Say you brought an astro dog into space. There be
Breaking up.
Hello? She was asking if they start taking animals like a dog to space, would they also need a vet to go to space?
I would imagine so because, again, They want to know how that animal actually survives in space, make sure it stays healthy, and if it doesn't, why it doesn't stay healthy. Very, very good question.
I know they have a number of experiments on. I know they did one with how spiders make their webs without gravity, and that one was interesting. You can probably look that one up online. That was an interesting article. So they do occasionally take animals up, but usually not larger ones yet. Mostly just insects. All right. Was there another question out here? I didn't even get crickets this time. All right. So our next online question is, if you, and actually I'm going to read these two together because it's just too good. If you could go to a different solar system or galaxy, where would you want to go? And the reply to that online was, better question is, where would your wife send you given the chance?
Anywhere in outer space, as long as it takes me away from her and I don't annoy the heck out of her, forget to do the garbage, put my clothes away, my socks, so on and so forth.
Right. And the answer to how thick Saturn's rings was 1 kilometer thick.
1 kilometer. How much is that in miles? Anybody? 2.6?
You know.
I don't know. Answer back. I don't have my phone with me. You tell me. So see if there's an answer.
So that's how many meters are in a. There's 1,000 meters in a kilometer. He's asking miles.
Miles.
And I don't know. I
I
don't
think
know
it,
the
I think
conversion
it's.
rate for
I
that.
want to say 2.6. 1.6. Okay, 1.6. So I messed up. I got people. All of a sudden, everybody's face is illuminated because I got their phones in front of them, going.
The ease of access to information. You know, how dare the people say, how dare my teachers say when I was growing up I was never going to have a constant calculator with me. I showed them.
Okay, we're gonna close up.
Right. So I want to thank everyone for joining us. If you do have any questions, do find our volunteers. We'd be more than happy to help you. When you go to leave, remember, headlights on. We're not running people over. This is not 10 points per each person we hit. Each of the buildings with the roll-off roofs actually houses a telescope and should have a volunteer running it, and they'll be more than happy to tell you what they're viewing and what's available to view.
Right now, there are 4 telescopes open.
All right. And with that, thank you for everyone online. Thank you, Ken, for another great talk. And you guys
Remember to go into our sales desk area. We have a lot of stuff that might be very interesting to you.
we have a whole meteorite display and everything, so
Thank you all.